Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, what's up? Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. So for the next couple weeks, I wanted to focus Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, what's up? Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. So I think I've talked a lot about acrylic nails, e-filing, nail art, all that stuff. So what I wanted to do was talk a little bit more about natural nails. You got to give the natural nail customers some love too. So over the next couple weeks, I'm going to be doing a natural nail series, and we're going to be covering everything from basic manicure, gel manicure, polishing with gel polish, which is tricky for a lot of new nail techs, and nail art for natural nails. Some people think because I'm doing natural nails, I can't do nail art. Absolutely wrong. You can do it and have it all. So part one, we're going to be covering today is going to be how to do a basic manicure. If you haven't seen my nail anatomy video, I'll leave a link above and you can check that out. So we should know about the foundation of natural nails that we're going to be working on, and then working up to build a basic manicure. Why is a basic manicure important? Basic manicures are super important, even if you are only doing acrylic nails. Why? Because we're prepping these natural nails. The whole point of enhancements is to get the natural nail to grow. So we always want to make sure that the natural nail is taken care of, the nail's prepped, ready to go, even if you're just doing a manicure or enhancements. We always want to make sure the natural nail is taken care of. So in this part, we're going to be focusing on how to do a basic manicure, which is a lot of things people tend to overlook. They get wrapped up in acrylic and nail art and e-filing and all the fun stuff, but they forget the foundation. So let's just take it back a little bit, talk about how to do a basic manicure coming up now. All right, so to do a basic manicure, you're going to need obviously your implements, cuticle pusher, nipper, and nail clipper. I have some lint-free wipes, cuticle remover eliminator. This is my cuticle oil that I make. I just put it in just a Young Nails bottle, but this is the cuticle oil I make. I have a 240 file, which is good for natural nails, or you can use a 180. And some soak if you're going to add it to the water. So the first thing I want to do is always open my implements and open the front of my clients so they know they're clean. They don't just come out of a drawer. And I'll go ahead and just cleanse the nail plate with a little bit of swipe. So this just gets rid of any of the debris, especially if they were removing gel. And at this point, I would ask the client if they want their nails cut or filed. So she just wants them filed. So we're going to go ahead and continue and stay with the same shape. And I'm just going to lightly file the nail. When you're filing natural nails, you want to be very gentle. We don't want to be rough. We don't want to file up and down. We just want to lightly go 2 to 3 strokes each side. And because this is a 240 file and it's very soft, I can lightly file on top of the nail just to make sure I'm getting off anything and filing out any uneven surfaces. You could do this with the 180 as well, just a little bit more light-handed, but I would not recommend anything more coarse than that. Okay, so now I'm going to place her hand into the manicure bowl. I'll add a little bit of soap or soak, whatever you use, to that and have her soak this hand while I repeat this process on the next hand. Okay, so once I'm completed the other hand, I'm just gonna take a towel over her hand, lift her hand out of the water, make sure I catch all the water, please. And then I would put this here for the next hand to soak while I do the following. So once the hand has soaked, all I've done was take an orange wood stick with a little bit of cotton and just place it on the tip. So all you have to do is pull this off just a little bit and kind of roll it around in here. Because I'm going to take my Cuticle Eliminator and put a little bit onto the cotton to put onto her nail. And just kind of rub that, make sure it gets all in the cuticle. The reason I do this and not directly pour it onto the nail is because we don't want to have anything, any bacteria, anything transfer onto the bottle and then pass it on to the next client. So the proper way to do it would to just kind of place it on the cotton and do it like this. If you were to drop it directly, just try to not have any contact. You can do it, but it's going to be hard to get when you kind of move it around. So you can just drop it without making any contact. That's fine. And this stuff is made to start working immediately, so you don't have to give it a minute to let it sit in. Once you rub it in, you can move on to the next step. So I'm going to take my Cuticle Pusher, and what I'm going to do is just start from up here, and I'm going to, some people's cuticles do grow high, so we want to just push back. And remember, if you saw the video that I did on nail anatomy, this is not your cuticle, this is the actual living skin. So the cuticle is all the dead tissue that's underneath here, that's on the nail plate. So we're going to give it a little push, and it helps if your Cuticle Pusher has a little bit of a scraper, then you can actually scrape up some of the tissue. So now I'm going to take this lint-free wipe, and the reason I like to use these is because these have lots of little holes in them, and what this does is all the cuticle that we push back, all that dead tissue, it gets trapped into these little holes. So doing this method helps me not have to cut as much. I'm just going to take it and kind of wrap it around my finger. If you wanted to add a little bit of water from the bowl, you can add a little bit of water, and I'm just going to push upward into circles and wipe away all the cuticle that I pushed and all the remover. So small circles. And once you do that, you see that it's barely anything left to cut. So what I'll do is, if there is anything, especially on the side, we want to make sure we nip anything. And how we correctly cut cuticles is I'm going to take my nipper, hold it at a 45-degree angle, push back on the epinicium to cut the dead cuticle. We do not want to cut this skin. So we're going to push back and then cut. I have a back motion, pushing that out the way and cutting what's on the actual nail plate. And sometimes people do have stubborn cuticles. You can go over this with a file. If she had a stubborn cuticle, let's say here, I could easily just take my file and file it away. I don't necessarily have to cut it. And we always want to make sure our nippers are sharp, so we're not pulling. We never want to pull someone's nail because it's their cuticle, because it will hurt. And we don't want to cause a cut, which could lead to an infection. So after I cut anything that's loose, the opposite end of my pusher, I'm just going to lightly go underneath the nail, or you can use an orange one stick and get any dirt. And then I like to refile, because sitting in the water, sometimes you get these little snaggly edges. So I'll just refile that. And make sure the shape is correct. And at this point, I'm not really filing I don't want to file too much where I'm taking away length. I just want to make sure my edges are crisp. And I will buff. And the orange buffer is for manicure. The purple one you normally see is for acrylic. Orange is for natural nails. And I'll just lightly buff the edge again to make sure I get rid of any of the snaggly edges. And at this point, if you're buffing and you do see any cuticle, you can cut. Sometimes that does appear afterwards. Dust my hand off, make sure everything's okay before I go in with my cuticle oil. And just put a little bit by the cuticles and rub that in. She's all ready for her regular nail polish. All right, so now that the hand is oiled, we're gonna go ahead and just like to use one of these towels to wipe off any dust from the nail and the arm. These are disposable. You could wash them and reuse them. I tend not to. And I'm gonna take a little bit of lotion. And I'll just show you guys how to lightly do a massage. You want to just warm it in your own hands at first and slowly just rub the client's hands. If you guys want me to do a whole video on different types of massage techniques and everything, I can. Leave me a comment below. And we just want to do certain little moves, small circles. You can flip the hand up this way and do small circles on the palm of the hands. You can do small circles down each finger like this. Pull the middle finger. And you just want to make sure this hand is very lotion and massage. People definitely love this part of the manicure or any nail service. Yes, they like the nail art, but the massage is everything. So if you want a video on that, and we can do a spa one where it goes all the way up to the elbow, just let me know below. Okay, so once her hand is massaged, I'm gonna take another lint-free wipe and some more swipe. And I'm gonna wipe the nail plate, get rid of all that oil and lotion that we put on there, because we want our base coat to adhere to the nail plate. We don't want anything in the middle of that. All right, after I wipe each nail plate, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna be using red nail polish for this, just to show you guys. And I have the Young Nails line, so I'm gonna use in their base, top, and their polish. So I have the base coat here. I'm gonna hold her hand, and what we're gonna do is when you're polishing, we always wanna make sure we get everything off the neck. So I'm gonna do a small circle to kind of make sure everything's down. I'm gonna make sure most of my polish is on one side. can see where I have it. You'll see better with the red. And I'm gonna start almost by the cuticle, and I'm gonna push up into the cuticle downward. And I'm just gonna follow that line on the left, on the right, and then on the free edge. So again, making sure it's all on one side, push up into the cuticle, and just follow that line. That's how we get a nice crisp line. You'll see it better with the red. Right, so we want this layer to dry before we put on the next layer. This is why it's also important to paint as thin as possible. Like you can see that this nail is already dry. So we will repeat the process on the next hand and come back and polish in red. So for red, same concept. I'm gonna make sure nothing is in the top of the bottle, especially if we open the bottle, sometimes stuff will drip out from the cap. So I just like to twirl it. Make sure you also get all those air bubbles out. And all my polish is on one side of the brush. And with that same concept, I'm going to hold it near the cuticle, push up, one stripe, then follow that same line on the left and then on the right. And the thing about polish is if you take time and do it the first round, when you repeat the second coat, you're not really gonna have to go that close to the cuticle. So you wanna try to execute it as best as possible, the first coat. Again, push up into the cuticle. I'm very thin. With a first coat, you should still be able to see the nail. It should still almost be translucent a little bit. That's how thin you want your polish to be. You don't ever want to just try to attempt to start from the cuticle, because it's got ones, especially colors like red and black, all the dark ones, once it's in the cuticle, even if I clean it immediately, it's very hard to get it out. So you want to push your way into the cuticle. And always make sure you seal your edges. That's how we make sure it lasts. So repeat this on the next hand and then come back for a second coat. First coat I have, it looks good. So for the second one, I'm not even gonna go all the way to the cuticle, because again, if we got it right the first time, we don't wanna mess that up. So where I started before, instead of me pushing up to go into the cuticle, I'm just gonna start from that line and do the same concept. Never pushing back into the cuticle for the second one. So I'm starting here, and I'm just gonna go complete the same thing. We don't wanna try to trace the line. And if you see any imperfections, I always keep a little bit of acetone and a cleanup brush, and I clean as I go. I don't wait until the end to clean, because by that time it's already stained the skin and the nail. It's harder, so I clean up as I go. You still want to stay a little light-handed. You don't want to be too thick with polishing, especially with gel, but this is also true for regular polish, because they'll be drying forever. If you see anything in it, I see a little hair. I'm just gonna keep stroking it until it comes out. I can wipe it off. All right, and let that dry before we do top coat. Once this other hand is completed, I'm gonna just finish with top coat, and same concept. Always polish on, mostly a polish on one side. And we're gonna go all the way and just make sure we seal the nails. Still staying light. We don't want a heavy top coat because they'll still take forever to dry. And remembering, if you're polishing with any colors that are dark, you always want to look and make sure you wipe your brush every here and there, because it will start to stain the whole bottle. You can avoid that by just cleaning your brush off after every couple nails. Okay. And if you have any dry drops, you want to wait a few minutes before you drop anything onto the nail or spray it. But there is your basic manicure. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified when I post a new video. We're going to be continuing with our manicure and natural nail series next time, and I'll see you then. Bye.